welcome to America's Got Podcasts. I am Cody Mims, here with Keeper of the Golden Buzzer, GJ Corbin.
Hey.
So here we are, auditions week 3. What did you think of them?
Overall, it was a pretty solid episode, actually.
Yeah, I thought so too. The judges were really positive on this episode, and I'm not sure I personally found it as satisfying as last week, but it was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
The first act we had was this group called Good Girl, and I wrote down their name as Good Girls G-U-R-L-Z because I was reminded of the Spice Girls group that we had before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they seemed very similar, though they took it more seriously than the Spice Girls.
Yes, and they got the audience grooving to the extreme. What was your overall opinion of this act?
So one thing I noticed in particular was they were really comfortable on stage, which of course is a great sign for anyone who wants to be a performer of the sort. As for the actual act, I mean, they were good at singing, but it didn't really blow me away. I thought in particular I agreed with Simon's comments, though I put a bit more of a negative spin on it. Still a yes, but...
Okay. Well, I see where you're coming from with that yes. I thought they were technically very good, but I am so bored by this kind of R&B that I just have no desire to see it again.
Yeah, there wasn't any chemistry or charm to it that really set them above anyone else.
Yeah, they Mel compared them to Fifth Harmony, I think, and to me that is not a compliment. But to many people it is.
Yeah.
And I think this act is going to go far. But I would have to give them a no, personally. And then we had one that Simon called a Dancing Ninja Army. I really like seeing this stuff.
So actually, I enjoyed the dancing a lot more than I thought I would. I was actually kind of hoping that they would show entire acts instead of just that little montage.
Yeah, me too. I like this stuff. So we had the Dancing Ninja Army. We had this other male dance group who was sort of a bit more tough and hardcore, I guess. And then we had these young kids with sunglasses who, I don't know, they seem pretty neat. But all this turned out to be a lead-up to this group called the John Rothman Dancers. Yeah,
John Rothman and his dancers.
What did you think of this group?
So, they were clearly supposed to be one of the goofy acts that you have in the episode. But I actually really enjoyed it. I thought John was really funny, had great charisma and interactions with the judges. The choreography itself was cute. I mean, pretty slow. That's to be expected given their age. I definitely agree with Howie, but I would still give him a yes. Just wouldn't expect anything onwards.
Okay. I didn't really get that from them. I don't know if this was just a more negative night for me, but I was expecting Heidi to save us from this one. They came out and they did their thing, and I wasn't really all that impressed. I didn't find his persona very funny, but that's great that America seems to like him. So, they did go through. I wouldn't put them through, but they were a cute little act.
Yeah.
Then we had Diane Bernard, who did this hula hoop thing, and she is here after being cast away previously.
Yeah, one of the returning champions. Well, in her mind anyway.
Yeah, I thought this was pretty blech.
Yeah, when she was going on about how she had went on before and she made it pretty far, I must have been remembering some other act because I was like, oh yeah, actually, that hula hoop lady, she was actually pretty good. But then when she started, it was clear that I was thinking of a completely different act because this was terrible.
I got that same effect with the next act that we saw, which was the Russian Bar Trio. And when they came on, I thought they were the Sandow Trio, who, do you know the story of the Sandow Trio?
Yeah.
Pretty much the biggest suicide on America's Got Talent, in Pierce's words. I was hoping that it was them. I thought they should have re-auditioned because they're great and it would have been good to see them again. But as soon as these guys started, I was like, strike that. These guys are way better.
Yeah. In general, I'm just a huge fan of the Russian Bar. I love it. In particular, some of the things that they were doing were really, really cool. Like they started off using their arms like as a human Russian bar almost. Then, of course, doing the handstand and double flips. It was just amazing.
Yeah, it was spectacular. I thought the hula hoop was great, and they even went with the music very well, which isn't
Yeah, yeah,
something I expected. But there were the impacts went with the impacts of the songs, and I thought it was great.
yeah.
The judges gave this act a yes, and I would also give this act a yes.
I don't know how you could say anything other than a yes. It just completely sold me.
Of course. Then we had Katie Lynn. What did you think of this singing girl?
Um, I mean, she had a good voice. I'm not really a fan of country, so my view is tainted there, but she was all right.
Yeah, I thought her voice sounded extremely mature, but
Yeah.
she didn't really stand out as anything but another boring singer to me.
Yeah, that's also what like the third opera kid we have this season so far. So even having that mature voice doesn't really stand out this year.
Yeah, that's true. There have been a lot of these. But the judges were very hot on her. Heidi totally
Yep.
slammed her daughter. She was like, I can't imagine her doing anything like that. And if Simon didn't hit his golden buzzer now, like, he seemed so enthralled by this girl. I don't know what he's going to
Yeah.
hit it
Oh yeah.
for. I mean, it
I
is.
wouldn't be surprised if she gets signed up on his label or whatever, and sometime in the near future.
Yeah. But then again, the golden buzzer is kind of a weird mechanic, and he can't, like, retroactively
Yeah.
give it to her, so maybe he'll regret
Mhm.
leaving her goldless. But she did go
Possibly.
through. I hate to be negative Nancy again, but I wouldn't put her through because I didn't enjoy the country performance.
Really, I don't like country, but I would have given her a yes because of just the level of talent she has. But honestly, unless she does something to really prove her talent and ability, I don't think she'll make it too far.
Sure, and for me, I think the comparison can kind of be drawn to Grace Vanderwall last week, who was also performing in a style that I didn't like.
Similar age too.
But a big thing for her was that she wrote her own songs,
Yeah.
and that's a big deal for me. So that's probably what set her apart. I mean, this is really just a voice. Grace's talent could be said to be somewhat songwriting as well if
Yeah.
she continues to do this, but I don't know. I sort of think Katie would be a better fit on another show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we had Duo Guerrero, and I thought this was very impressive and
Oh
very
yeah.
cool.
I was ready to hate it. Like even when they showed the tightrope, I was like, okay, well they're really old, so it's just going to be them walking, and woohoo, so impressive. But then it actually started. You know, they hit a split, and then he jumped over his wife, and then the chair on the rope, and then standing on the chair, and it was all just so impressive. It was incredible.
Yeah, I thought jumping off of her was the wildest thing. I mean,
Yes.
that must have made such an impact on that line for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they were great under pressure, as you might say. Anyway, they did go through. I would wholeheartedly agree with that. Then we had the choir sort of a cappella act, One Voice.
Yeah.
These guys had some great harmonies, and I thought they also had a great song choice because all that minor key stuff they had going
Yeah.
on with those weird, interesting harmonies, they really highlighted what they do with their voices very well, and I thought this was pretty phenomenal.
I think, well, first of all, this act confirms that this year is going to be the year of acapella if it continues
Sure.
at this pace. As for the act itself, I was not quite so hot on it. They were good, but when you compare them to Lincoln Bridge or Musicality, I thought they didn't feel as full as the others. It was a lot emptier. I would give them a hesitant yes, though I must say the bit they did at the end was pretty cute.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I'm not exactly watching the show in audiophile grade sound equipment, but to me, it seemed like they were more technically capable. Maybe that's just also a memory thing as well. But yeah, I thought they were pretty good, and I was so glad to see more great staging from an act like this. I liked the part when they were all grouped together, and then they expanded out into a line very quickly with marching band-like precision.
Yeah.
I like that, and yeah, that moment at the end, that was very cute that he decided to reveal his crush live. I mean, maybe that was part of his plan, let's be honest, but
Well, he did have something prepared. Yeah.
sure, yeah. And I'm also very happy that people still watch The Office. And the Pretzel Day line was a little cringy, but it was a very
Yeah.
nice moment. So anyway, they did go through. I agree with that. And then we had a couple comedians. We had Josh, who was joking about how he looked girly. I thought that was very meh, but
Yeah.
he did go through. And then it was cutting to this other girl who it was clear that we were going to see more of.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Al Dushar, and he did this impression of a kid, which was pretty good, but we didn't really see that he had any comedic talent. So,
Yeah.
But he did go through as well. And then we got to Lori Mae Hernandez. And what did you think of her comedy stylings?
So I think the delivery at the very beginning was really weak, and so I like initially rejected her. But as the act went on, I think the delivery improved and the jokes began to really show their strength. I liked the end of the whole babysitting gambit, especially the doctor bit and the Trump dig. It was pretty good. Probably the best. I think the best comedian we've seen so far. But it's been a pretty weak year for comedians, in my opinion.
Yeah. I was not so hot on her. I guess I'm a pretty harsh judge of comedy, but I've seen that babysitter joke done before and better by Aziz Ansari and John Mulaney, and I didn't totally think the rest of her act was very inventive. I wasn't totally thrilled by this.
At the very least, we can say she's better than Nathaniel.
Yes, definitely. Who knows where Nathaniel will be at her age? Probably not this good. Poor Nathaniel. Not poor Nathaniel, because he went through. But,
yeah.
So we're going to see some kid comedians dueling it out, I guess.
That'll be interesting.
Clash of the Titans. Then we had this singer who sang with their dog.
Yeah.
It was very high-pitched. We didn't see much of this. I wasn't really sure what to make of it. I can't say I liked it.
No, not at all. At first, I was like, okay, well, she's singing, but the dog is not singing, so this is supposed to be like ventriloquism or something? But then the dog started, that wasn't singing. It was just whining, and it was terrible, ear-bleedingly bad. Ugh.
I think we've heard parakeets on the show that sound better.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Speaking of singing birds, we had something like that for the next act, who got all 4 buzzers.
Yeah, and it was terrible. Still better than the Screaming Chihuahua.
Uh-huh. Then we had this couple that used household objects to make songs who only got about 3 seconds of their act out before they were buzzed to oblivion.
Yep.
Nothing really special there. Then we had some opera singers who also got a no, and I feel like this sort of goes back to what I was saying about I don't know how well the judges can judge opera. I didn't think that they sounded that much worse than the opera singer who got a golden buzzer, but the judges probably do know more about this than I do. But
at the very least, Simon should have some comprehension when it comes to singing acts.
Sure.
I'd imagine.
Apparently these people weren't noticeable for opera singers, so were you sad to see them go?
No.
Okay, then we had Miranda, who is hard to describe other than hashtag on the lips.
It was the funniest thing the whole episode. I mean, terrible act, but I loved it.
Really?
Just Simon begging for his co-host to buzz and just refusing and letting the torture go on and on, finally ending with that kiss.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
It seemed like Simon was mostly joking with that, which was good. But I found this act very uncomfortable and inappropriate.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they put her through. This is one of the worst mob votes I've ever seen, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what she'll do next time? Maybe Howie will get the same treatment.
Oh, that would be interesting, considering his preferences.
Mm-hmm. Then we had the singer who the show really just used as an intro, which was weird and kind of confusing. And all I can really say about it is I hate hearing smooth voice pretty girl sing Creep. But did you want to hear more of this?
I mean, it sounded all right, but I think like it was too little to really give a solid judgment.
This was an intro anyway to Victor Key, who was a pretty slick juggler.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought there was some serious style to this act, and even the drop at the end, like, it made me wonder if this guy's a dancer.
Hmm.
I thought it was very slick all around, and I hope his appearance doesn't keep him from getting votes, because
Yeah, that was the weird thing.
it'd be cool for a juggler to win EGT.
Yeah, oh yeah, and he definitely as a prop student at least get far. I don't think we've really had an amazing juggler in at least a few years, and I'm really excited to see what this guy does in the future. I thought in particular the balls being dropped from the ceiling was really, really cool,
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed all of it.
It's a very vertical affair.
Yeah,
I think his costume choice is a big mistake, though,
yeah,
because it's very incongruous with how smooth his act is.
and it doesn't at all improve his act or like shape his identity as an actor and entertainer. It's just
Yeah.
there.
I mean, maybe he thinks like jugglers can't be cool, so why even try? Just go all out in the other direction. I don't know what his thought process is.
Yep.
But he did go through. I was happy to see that. I'd give him a yes.
Oh, definitely.
Then we got to our last act of the night in Sal. We got to see his family, which was absolutely charming. What did
Yeah.
you think of all this?
Well, I was really worried at first because it came across as so like stereotypical and comedic that I was like, okay, this has to be one of those jokey acts, or we're going to end with another Captain Styrofoam or whatever. But the more we saw him, the more genuine it felt, which made just how stereotypical it was even funnier. I mean, he delivered
Yeah.
pizzas. He has a cousin named Big Tommy. He had this big family with him. It was just a great package with a great voice to boot. I really, really enjoyed it.
My favorite part of their introduction was when his cousin was talking to him, and he was like, "He's a person in a chair. Don't worry about Simon Cowell."
Yeah.
And Nick was so enthused too. He was like, "Let's go Salé," and he had a cigar with him. It was great.
Yeah.
They have they're a great little family, and this guy is so fantastic.
Yeah, really.
I thought his voice was very soothing, and he really does sound old school.
It was great because we don't have many singers that sound like that at all. It really did stand out, even though he was just another singer.
Yeah, I mean, the most recent I can think of, I guess, is Landau Eugene Murphy Jr., who did
Yeah.
win the show.
Hmm.
And I kind of think this guy might be better. I don't know. We haven't seen much of him, but
Yeah.
I was enthralled by this. He was too smooth. Also, he
Yeah.
slipped his name in the song, and he went down to the judges' table to talk to the ladies. It was great. It was a good time.
Yeah.
A good time and a pretty good episode. So we ended with another golden buzzer this week,
Hmm.
and we're gonna have another one next week.
Yep. Simon's.
Yeah, we're just blowing through these.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. So far, only singers have gotten the golden buzzer, which
Yes.
is frustrating, but whatever. Normally, I would be hoping at this point that, this last golden buzzer will be something else. However, Simon has made comments that he's really, looking out for singers. So most likely, next week's golden buzzer will also be some sort of musical act.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. And you said last golden buzzer. Let's not forget Nick also has a golden buzzer this year.
That's true, yeah.
That's probably something he campaigned for, I would think, because this comes from Britain's Got Talent, was the first to do this. The duo that hosts their show gets to collectively decide to press a golden buzzer. So maybe Nick was like, "Hey, give me a golden buzzer. Peace out."
Well, I'm sure the way that we've seen it in advertisements anyway seems like he makes the choice for himself and he dashes out there, which,
Yeah.
whether that's legitimate or not, whether it was pre-planned or not, at the very least, I'm sure they set it up like that for better TV. This is reality
Yeah.
TV after all.
I don't think it's legitimate at all. Don't be fooled by the media, people. This is all pre-planned and organized. The buzzer is completely legit. The confetti shall rain down. And I don't know when we're going to see that, but it's probably not going to be next week. But thanks for tuning in this week, everybody. We hope to see you to celebrate more gold. And be sure to stick with us, and we'll see you next week.